Hey there, Emily with Stony Acres Farm in Cary, North Carolina, and today you're going to hear part 2 of our interview with our cattle farmers. Let's go. Welcome to part 2 of our interview with Victoria and Mackenzie from Crabtree Farm Goods. If you haven't watched part 1, go back and watch it. Our interview was almost an hour long, so I'm breaking it into 3 sections for quicker watching. This section we're going to talk about the best practices they put into place on their farm. We're also going to talk about vaccines, and we're going to talk about the future of cattle farming. You're also going to hear how Victoria has actually tipped a cow and how she has ridden a steer. So we hope you enjoy part 2. Typical day for you two, what does it look like? Like if I was a cattle farmer, did I say that right? If I was a cattle farmer and I woke up and I'm like, oh, it's morning, here's my coffee, what do you typically do?
Yeah, so I
usually
usually
just like get on the tractor, just like put a hat on and go on the tractor.
It'd probably be easy to start with me because
Yeah.
I work maintenance in the pharmaceutical industry.
Okay.
So I go to work.
You go to work. Right. So there always has to be like a real paid person working on the farm. Like we have that too.
Yeah, in our situation at this point, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to get wrapped up into the farm really quick and really drawn into being on the farm from sun up to sundown unless I monitor myself, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to always, start in the morning, have a devotion, drink my coffee, eat my breakfast, slide into the day, and then once I get out the door, the first thing I do is I go take care of the animals. So as I just said, we have about 110 head of cattle. So I've got the brood cattle, which are the mama cows with the bull. They're the ones that raise the little baby calves. Right now, because of the drought, I'm having to give them hay. Ideally, I'm able to just go and rotate them to a new pasture so they get fresh grass every day. But I do that. I make sure they have food.
Okay, wait. So here's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you move them to a new pasture?
Yeah.
There's just you.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you, if you're like, hey, 50 cows, how do I get them over there?
Yeah, so we have a big pasture. It's probably like 23 acres that is divided up into 4 smaller lots.
Okay.
So it's just like a big rectangle, and it's just boxed off.
So you just like open
4
a
boxes.
Gate.
Yeah, so they've got a lane that they go down, and then there's just a gate that I open, and they know what to do.
She does call them.
Do you have
Sometimes.
a cow call?
I'm not going to share the
You
cow
don't
call.
But do you have a cow call?
I do have a cow call.
Is it like a whistle or is it like your voice?
It's my voice.
It's your voice. And what do you do if one doesn't go down the chute? Do you chase it?
You usually have to try to go back and either chase it in, or the side-by-side that I ride on usually has a 5-gallon bucket on it somewhere. So I grab the 5-gallon bucket, and sometimes they're used to eating out of the 5-gallon bucket.
So they think it's food.
Yeah. So I can usually get them to come up to the bucket and then lead them in. But for the most part, the adult cows know exactly what to do.
And the smaller ones will follow them. So you just move them from one pasture to the next pasture?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So then you typically head out to do that at what time?
Usually around 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Not crazy early.
So then you move them to the pasture, give them hay, then what?
So I do the minerals Mackenzie just spoke of, the VitaFirm minerals. That just makes sure that they're getting the calcium, the phosphorus, magnesium, really important elements that they need to be able to thrive and be able to, especially endure this heat right now, be able to get the nutrients out of the plants. So I go check the minerals, make sure they have that available. We try to keep that free choice. Cows are really smart. They usually know what they need, so they know if they need minerals. And the minerals are kind of like me and you taking a daily vitamin.
Okay.
So I check that, and then I have my other groups of calves. So the ones that enter the direct-to-consumer beef growing phase, I go check those. They get feed pellets, which has proteins to help supplement them. They also get cracked corn, which is a really good source of energy. That's what's going to give you your marbling, your flavor in your beef. And I do all of this while they're still on pasture. I try to allow them to have grass-free choice, but in some situations with the drought, they are having to be supplemented some hay in a few situations right now. But the hay is also, if you don't know, hay is just cut, dried, cured grass. That's all that is.
So
And we do have a system. So I know she talked about how we feed the protein feed plus the cracked corn. So Victoria, like I said, she grew up with the farm and all that stuff. I have not. She is an expert. She is very well versed in being able to look at a cow and judge what kind of blend it needs to be on. So we have 2 totes that we fill up out of our grain bins, one with the corn, one with the feed. And she has pre-measured scoops, and each different group that is on a different phase of how long they have been on the grain gets more grain as they move closer to being processed.
you're like a cow bartender.
Kind of,
You're
yeah.
like, you like mix it all up, and you're like, you need this, and you need this, and you need this.
yeah.
Now, where do you get all your feed from? Where do you get that much? Like, we go to a feed store, but that's way more than what you could do.
Yeah, so when I was first starting, I was just buying bagged feed from the local retailer. Right now, we get our feed pellets primarily from Deal Rate Feeds, and then the cracked corn. Most of the time, I'm able to source that from my neighbor, which is only like a mile down the road. That's excellent that I can do that. I love being able to support another local farmer. So I can usually get it from him. And so what they do is we have these large feed tanks, which look a little bit like a silo. It's a big metal canister on stilts pretty much. So the feed truck will come. They have a big tank on the back. They have an unloading boom. They're able to just put the boom in, and they're able to directly put the feed into our feed tank.
How often do you do that?
About once every 4 to 6 months. Excuse me, 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, weeks. Oh my goodness.
So pretty frequent.
That's a lot of feed. And is it on a rotate? Like, you have like a feed subscription? Like,
no.
do
So
you have to call and place your order?
I have to call, place an order, and all of the prices are going to revolve around the stock market prices at that time, or I guess commodity prices, I should say.
And then does your order change per season? So you'll get different minerals in the winter than you would, or does it kind of always stay the same?
For the most part, it stays the same. In some situations, I do supplement my brood cows during the winter, so I may have to get a little bit more of my protein pellets during that time, but for the most part, it stays the same.
Do you name your cows?
A few of them have names.
Like a few
yeah.
of your favorite ones?
I've got a few favorites.
Do cows sleep standing up? Is that true?
I have never seen a cow sleep standing up.
Really? They always lay down?
I've only seen them lay down when they sleep.
When you were growing up in the country, did either of you tip a cow?
I've tipped a cow once. But he was already laying down because they don't sleep standing up. So
did you tip him for fun, like when you were younger?
Yeah, it was just for fun. Like, I think me and one of my friends, we just grabbed his legs and like flipped him over
and ran away and screamed. Yeah, you did.
She also had a system set up where she could ride one of her steers as a kid.
Yeah.
Tell them about that.
Were you just sitting there one day and you're like, I think I can ride that steer?
So this is a little embarrassing.
We're just friends talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had it was actually a dairy steer that I bought from my neighbor, and I bottle fed him. And he got a little older.
How old were you? Set this up.
I was probably like 14.
Okay.
Yeah. Young and crazy.
On a farm.
So after he was big enough, I had him, he was halter broke, so like I could lead him around. He was pretty docile. And I actually took I think I took like a PVC pipe, a long PVC pipe. And you know the cartoons with the donkey attached to the cart and they hold the carrot out in front of him? Okay, well that's basically what I do with this calf.
What did it have a name?
His name was Lucky. Yeah. So I used to take Lucky and I would take him next to a fence where I could climb on. And I took like a little ice cream bucket, put some feed pellets in it, tied the bucket handle to a string, tied the other end to the PVC pipe, and I would get on Lucky's back.
What was in the bucket?
It was his feed pellets.
Oh, it's feed pellets. Okay.
So then I would once I was on him, I'd grab the halter and kind of pull it back to get his head out of the bucket, and then just throw it out in front of him. Oh, he didn't walk. He ran.
And there's no saddle.
No.
I can picture your parents like drinking their coffee, being like, "Yep,
there's her crazy daughter.
There she going again." Did it end badly ever?
Not too bad.
I mean, you had to hit a point where you quit riding Lucky.
Yeah, I did.
Just because you outgrew it, or was he having none of it?
I ended up selling Lucky.
Oh, poor Lucky. That's a great story, though. It was fun. You should reenact that for visitors.
I should.
At your farm.
I hope you enjoyed this part of the interview with Mackenzie and Victoria from Crabtree Farm Goods. If you want to get a hold of them, you can visit their website at crabtreefarmgoods.com. They're also on Instagram and Facebook. If you don't live in the Raleigh area and you want to find a local farmer to support, you can find them at MeatSuite, MEATSUITE.com and localharvest.org. You can also follow us at Stony Acres NC on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Thanks for watching.